excited to be back. It's been a good little minute since I made a video, but this month I announced last week that we are doing the Lean Business Model Canvas Challenge, and I figured the best way to talk about what exactly that is and how it might be useful to your business is through a video. So, this tool is a very important tool for business owners. But the first thing that I want to harp on is that this is not a one and done kind of situation. This is a living and breathing document that will live with you and your business over the years, right? So, like the snapshot that you're taking today when you fill it out, or this month when you fill it out, is going to be very different than when you look at it 3 years from now. And I can tell you that if I had tried to fill this out 3 years ago when we first started MINWO, it would have looked completely different. And I think that's an important point to make, because I don't want you to feel pressure or stress if any of these little boxes are things that you can't figure out or you don't have answers to. Because guess what? You have time. And what's nice about it is that some of these boxes, they might be easy for you to fill out and you know exactly what the content is. But the gaps are important because it highlights to you areas of your business that you aren't so sure about, which I think is just as valuable as the areas that you do know about, because that means that you have areas to work on, areas to improve, and hopefully that gets your business to the next level, whatever that means for you. So, the reason why I picked this particular challenge for the month of July is actually because when people talk to me and they say, "Oh, I have this business idea, I need to come up with a business plan." And I ask them why. That's the first question I always ask them. Why? Why do you think you need a business plan? And they tell me, oh, because I need to da da blah blah blah. And what I realize is that they have this outdated understanding of what business today looks like. And so I always tell them, no, banks aren't looking through 600-page documents anymore. That's outlines of business that you actually haven't done with all of this detail that will probably be thrown out the window as soon as the operations gets up and going. No one has time for that anymore. So, as we've moved into this day and age of design thinking and lean methodology, where you iterate as you go, you learn new things from the market and you bring it into your business, and you're supposed to fail fast, as they say, and move agile, all of the buzzwords. This canvas really lets you do that. It's basically, these are the sections that I know, these are the sections that I don't know. This is how we're testing it. We'll let you know what the market says when we figure it out. So the idea of a business plan is no longer as pertinent as the idea of having a business model. And what the word model really means is something that you can grow into. Like, this is something that you are working towards. So what's also funny is the universe works in very mysterious ways. I decided to do this lean business model canvas because I thought it was valuable to business owners that are on the MINWO platform. And it's something that I've been putting off for a very, very long time. But there's a pitch competition, the National Black MBA Association. They just announced a pitch competition a few weeks back that I just heard about, and I plan to apply for that. If you want more details, leave a message in the comments below, and I will get them to you. But as a part of their application, you have to have a lean business model canvas. So I figured, two birds, one stone, excellent. So as I am talking to all of you about how you're filling out your business model canvases, I am also filling one out for MINWO, not just where we are now, but more so where we're going. We're actually in this really beautiful time where over the last 3 years, we've market tested, we've launched our prototype, we've learned a lot. And so we're kind of closing that 3-year chapter and moving into a new chapter. And so our business model will actually reflect where we're going, not so much where we are. And that is completely fine to do if you know that you're making a lot of changes to your business and you're one quote someone used to say is, you're kind of changing the tires on the bus as the bus is going, which is essentially what we're doing. Our bus is continuing to go. We're trying to change the tires while it's still moving. So if you're in that kind of situation, feel free to pick a future spot and use this template to kind of describe what the future state will look like. Okay, so this last little piece before we get into the different boxes is that for those of us, I say us because more than one of us sure do, that have egos and prides to deal with, I want to make sure that we are real with ourselves and put those aside as we are filling out this template. It's important to acknowledge that because you want to give a snapshot of where your business actually is, and as realistically where it will be versus where you want it to be or what you think it might be. And so I just say that because if your customers are the customers that you're actually seeing are different than the customers that you thought you were going to be seeing, you want to make sure that you're accurately depicting that so that it's an honest document for yourself to look at things that you may need to tweak in the future. Okay, so let's jump on in. I am using the Lean Business Model Canvas from leanstack.com, but you can find this template in a whole bunch of different places. If you use Xmind, they have a template there. If you use Miro, which used to be Real Time Board, they have a template there. If you just Google Lean Business Model Canvas, it comes up literally in 1,000 different places. So feel free to grab you one from wherever you're comfortable. I happen to use this website because they also have a lot of content that will help you in filling it out. So you can check that out. And the way that I'm going through this is literally just left to right. Some places you'll see that they have the boxes numbered and you can hop around in different ways. I found that it actually connects really well when you go left to right, and it lets you think about information that you've already input as you move forward. So I've broken it down into like 3 main chunks that we'll talk about. And the first chunk is the problem, solution, and key metrics situation. So the problem. Here it says you want to list 1 to 3 problems. And it seems pretty easy, but what you really want to do is pack a punch in this first box, right? So an investor or whoever is reading this document is looking for what exactly is the problem that can be solved, and is it something that people are willing to pay money for? That is really what you want to communicate. Now, the problem can be simple or complex, right? It can be as simple to understand as people don't like going outside in the sun. That's a problem, easy to grab, easy to understand. Or it can be as complex as something related to blockchain or mitochondria or whatever, surgical something or another. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that you are conveying the value in working on or trying to solve this problem. The little subgroup that you have here are existing alternates. Who are your competitors? And let me tell you right now, if you list none or not applicable under that box, 9 times out of 10, whoever's going to read it is going to put it aside right there because it tells them 1 of 3 things. 1, you didn't do your research. 2, your ego is entirely too big and you think that absolutely no one competes with you, which is probably false. Or 3, it's a dead space. And it's a dead space because no one else wants to play in it, right? What shows a market that has promise or potential is the fact that there are other people that see that promise and potential too. So if you take, for example, this whole scooter situation, I don't know who was first to market. The first company that I saw was Lime. And now there's like 12 different scooter companies competing in that space when, I don't know, a year or 2, maybe 3 ago, it wasn't even a thing, right? So how all of these companies popped up at the exact same time, I'm not really sure, but they're there. And it's important that you acknowledge that you have some type of competition in the space. It just shows that you are willing to be open, honest, and you've done your research. Now, solution. Here you want to not only just list the features, functionalities, whatever of your product or service or what have you, but you want to make sure that you tie each and every solution item to the problem. If they can't see the direct link between this is a solution that you've created and the problem that exists, then there's a mismatch, and that's where things start to crumble and people start to wonder, do you actually know what you're doing? Key metrics is a section where you want to make sure that you know what's important to track to make sure that your business is on the right path. So depending on what your company is and what's important to your company is what you'll have listed here. So for example, if you have, let's say, 2 software applications, you have a banking app like Wells Fargo and a social media app like Instagram. Users might be an important metric that both check, but what you'll want to know maybe for one more than the other is active users. Or you might want to know session time. Now for Instagram, session time, it having a high session average per user might be important because it shows engagement with the application, and that's the whole point of it. But for something like Wells Fargo, where people are coming in, logging in, doing a couple of banking transactions, and then leaving, session time may not be as important. But having the number of active users on a monthly basis or on a daily basis might be more important. I don't know. But you get the idea, right? You want to think about what's important to your particular company. Say if you have a product company, or something that's a physical, tangible product, what might be important to you is the number of orders that you get on a daily basis or a weekly basis, how many shipments you're making, how many returns you're getting. Those are the things that you want to track and make sure that you know so that you understand the health of your business. Okay, so the next section that we're talking about is the unique value proposition, the unfair advantage, and channels section. So, unique value proposition is basically why do you belong in this space when there are other competitors? What is different about you? And here I love to use the quote, there was a MySpace before Facebook, right? So, just because there's an incumbent is the existing competitor, MySpace, doesn't mean that there isn't room for something like a Facebook to come in and bust the whole market wide open, right? So MySpace was doing well. I know I loved it. I rocked it. I had my little top 8 pop in, all of that. But Facebook found its niche. It started in a certain place where they saw a gap, they saw an opportunity. They were different in just a slightly different way, and boom, all of a sudden, Facebook is literally owning the whole entire world. High level concept is a way for you to be able to communicate what your idea is succinctly. If you only had 4 or 5 words to be able to use, what is your business? These days, a lot of people like to use, I am the Uber for something, right? So I am the Uber for food delivery, or I am the Uber for blood draw, or whatever. Whatever it is, it really just gives you an idea of, okay, they're saying that they are the on-demand distribution or on-demand pickup or on-demand whatever of this field. I was really excited when I finally got our high-level concept together. Now I tell people we are the Upwork plus Facebook groups of social commerce. More to come on that. Unfair advantage. Now, this section is a little bit harder, I would say, for some of us Black and brown and or female folks. We're not, from conversations that I've had with my friends, we're not as used to tooting our own horns or being able to quickly or effectively tell why we are unique or special or the reason why we should be doing X, Y, and Z. So this one I think is a great opportunity for you to talk to your friends and or family, and get a little bit of feedback from them if you can't articulate it off the top of your own head. But thankfully for me, this 3-year journey that I've been on with MINWO has really, really forced me to understand why I am uniquely designed to lead this company. But for you, unfair advantages are things that can actually fall in a few different categories. So first, you can think of people. So what are the unique or unfair advantages that you have when it comes to the people that are working on the company? Do you have PhDs or masters or people who have actually lived this particular pain point? Or are you just so in tune with the needs of the users that you bring a very unique and realistic perspective to the business? That's one. Tech is another one, another category that you can use to kind of identify areas that you have unfair advantages. So do you have IP, which is intellectual property, or patents, or anything like that that will give you a leg up in that particular space? If you have a patent, that means no one else can do what you're doing. So that means that you have at least the next however many years to create your business, get the product out there, and sell it with no competition. So there's people, there's technology, and then there's also just like business processes. Business processes is a unfair advantage that I think people highly undervalue. Is there a way that you're doing something? Is the customer service that you're providing? Who comes to mind? Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, they're selling chicken. Yes, the chicken is good, but what sets them apart, what their unfair advantages, and I'm not sure how they do it, is their customer service. Everyone is just so daggone nice at Chick-fil-A. But that is their unfair advantage, and that is what helped them to break apart from the McDonald's and the Burger Kings of the world. Last but not least in this little section is channels. Channels is a way for investors and or whoever's reading this to understand what your go-to-market strategy is, basically. Um, there's the route that you can take of knocking on doors, or social media is basically the digital version of going door to door and trying to get your brand out there, get people aware about what you're doing, and generate sales organically. Or you can leverage different channels to sell your product through. So, like, some examples that you can think of here in our modern day and age is podcasts. So, podcasts, they have advertisers. If there's a podcast that aligns with your brand, your mission, your company goals, that would be a great one for you to advertise through, because that means that people are listening that are already probably within your target market. YouTube channels, Instagram or social media influencers, they're all very similar, right? Find people that are all within your brand and you can advertise with them. There are other channels like strategic partners. So if there are organizations, nonprofits that already have an aggregate of your user base or your target market, work with them to see if they'll let you have access to that group. All of this, what all of this does is basically give you access to the spoke in the wheel of different target markets and different customer groups. So you can try and get customers in mass instead of trying to hit people one to one. Just a little easier that way. Now, for the last section, we have customer segments, cost structure, and revenue stream. So this is, like, for me, the fun part. Customer segments, you want to look at the different profiles of the people that are attracted to your product. And down here in the subsection, you have early adopters. Early adopters are the ones that really have a higher tolerance for risk and have a lower expectation when it comes to quality. Those are the people that you can try and fail with and get feedback from. When I tell you, we have had some amazing early adapters in our MINWO journey. Literally, have people that have been there since day one, since, like, before we had a website, since before we knew what we were doing. It was just like, hey, we have this idea. This is the direction that we want to go in. Would this be something that you're interested in? Can I get feedback from you? Can I figure out if we're moving in the right direction? And they have just been so great at telling us, yes, no, I wouldn't pay for this. Actually, yes, I need this. I need more of this. It's been really great in us figuring out, like, which direction we're going in. So that and then that also has helped us in being able to crystallize what our customers look like. When we first started, we knew that we wanted to serve minorities and women. Very broad group, not monolithic by any means. But as we started working with people, as we launched our prototype and people started joining the platform, we realized that, okay, who's attracting themselves to us? Mostly Black women. It's been Black women that's holding us down and the ones that are most engaged. But beyond that, Black women that are college educated, or Black women that have been in business 1 to 3 years, or Black women that have these kind of companies. It's been really helpful for us to be able to basically create different profiles of the people that we are trying to serve and the people that find the most value in what we're doing. Cost structure, this is basically for the investor or whoever's reading this to understand how quickly you're burning through money. So how much you're spending on a monthly basis in industry speak is your burn rate. And what your cost structure does is basically give this person, whoever's reading it, an idea of how quickly you're going through money. So if they're going to invest in you, they kind of get an idea of how long that money will last you. So here you want to list your major costs. So, like, that's usually labor. If you have technology, infrastructure costs. If you're a physical product and you have manufacturing costs, if you have shipping costs, anything like that, you want to list here and just give, like, an idea of what your monthly burn rate is. Last but not least, you have revenue streams, which is basically, are you making money? And if not, do you plan to make money, and how do you plan to make money? So do not feel shy or ashamed if you're not yet making money, right? Because this Canvas model is for any phase of business. So you can either list how you're making money today. So whether it's through multiple product lines, if you have speaking engagements, if you have a store with merchandise, if you have social media, X, Y, and Z. All of that you can list here, or you can say planned revenue streams. So, as I mentioned, we're in the middle of closing one chapter and moving into the next. This model will be, these are our planned revenue streams based on what we've learned, based on customer willingness to pay, not just from, picking something out of the air, but based on everything that we've learned so far. So as long as you can justify why you think these revenue streams are valid and how they will happen, feel comfortable with what you put there. All right. So I hope that participating in this Lean Business Model Canvas Challenge is beneficial to you. Hopefully, you guys have fun while filling this out. Hopefully, it's a great way to look at, oh, this is the stuff that I do know about my business, and you get really excited about that, or these are the areas that I need to dig a little deeper into, and you feel a little bit at peace in knowing that, okay, well, I may not know or have these answers right now, but I'm working on it, and I will have them in the near future. So at the end of the month, July 24th, the MINWO community will be having our monthly meetup. And the members on the platform will basically just be going through and talking about their experience and filling these out, and just sharing where we think our high points are, our low points are, areas that we need to focus on, all of that stuff. So if you're interested in joining, there's always time to join the MINWO community. Either shoot us a DM on Instagram at minwo.co, or shoot us an email, info@minwo.co, or leave something down below in the comments, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye, y'all.